And Brendan.
This is the big show, baby.
Serving up takes on Mizzou, the pros, and everything in between. Want to join in? Call or text the show at 573-875-KTGR. The Big Show starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome into Friday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. Sandy Humphrey and Brendan Schaefer here. Set for another big football weekend, and the Super Bowl rematch is this weekend. Getting a lot of attention, and we will put our predictions down as to whether it be the Eagles or the Chiefs. I still think the Chiefs are getting a ton of disrespect, Brendan, but
yeah,
what it is.
You know what, though? You said that last week. You said that before the Chargers game about the spread.
Did.
And guess what? It wasn't disrespectful. It was too forgiving in their direction. Wow. So is this year going to be different? You know, maybe we find out this weekend that it's not, that the Chiefs are still the Chiefs, or maybe we find out that they've got some issues.
Who knows? But I'm not wavering. We'll get to our predictions here in a bit. We'll get to our predictions for Mizzou in Louisiana. The updated start time, again, in case you haven't heard, noon tomorrow. It's when they kick it off. Getting away a bit from the heat tomorrow as much as they can. So give us your predictions. Who you got for tomorrow between Mizzou and ULL. We'll have our picks of the week at 5:45, and Rob Vino joins us for sports from a Vegas perspective at 4:25. Call or text us here at 875-KTGR. You can also tweet us at KTGR Big Show, and find us on Facebook at facebook.com/KTGR Big Show. Again, a noon kickoff tomorrow for Mizzou and Louisiana Lafayette. That means the Yuengling Tiger Game Day show begins at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Tigers looking for a 3-0 start. Wins over Central Arkansas and Kansas to begin the season. And so we'll see if the Tigers can get things going. 27.5-point favorites tomorrow are the Tigers. Again, tune into all the coverage starting at 9 a.m. right here on KTGR. Chiefs and Eagles kick off at 3:25 on Sunday at Arrowhead Stadium. Xavier Worthy, I believe doubtful was the tag on the injury report for him. He did have limited practices today and yesterday, but Andy Reid characterizing during media availability today, he's got a slim chance to play against the Eagles this weekend with that shoulder injury. And so the Chiefs and Eagles will rematch from the Super Bowl last year on Sunday, and that's the Big Show's big deal on this 12th day of September 2025. You can call or text us here at 875-KTGR if you want to tell us who's going to come out on top in that Super Bowl rematch. Look, I get it. Chiefs looked, especially at the start, pretty dreadful through the first quarter and a half, you'd probably say, and then they start to climb back, but just a play or two short of really putting the Chargers on edge in a game like that to complete it. So, yeah, that happened. But now they get even more time to prepare than the Eagles have for this game, and they can find ways to correct what they did. And look, Brendan, I get it. The Eagles have more. They have more mojo from this based on the fact that 2 games ago for both of these sides, it was just complete bloodshed in that Super Bowl. Won't even deny it. But the first time out against the Eagles, were you really that impressed by what they did against the Cowboys?
It's a fair point. I mean, I wasn't, and they should have lost the game if CeeDee Lamb had hands attached to his wrists. They would, Cowboys would have won that game.
Yeah.
His drops single-handedly turned it for them. So, that is a fair point. I'm not really hot to trot for the Eagles. I'm more worried about the Chiefs, though, than I am worried about Philadelphia, is where I have come down on it this week. And, maybe I'm too confident that in what we're going to see on Sunday. It's probably going to be a down-to-the-wire close game. But I wonder if Mahomes has the weaponry available to him that can help him push a close game over the top anymore. Without Rashee Rice right now, without Xavier Worthy, you still have Kelsey. Are they going to stick with the run game enough to let it have time to produce? I think is going to be a big question for this game. Whether it's Pacheco or Kareem Hunt or Brashard Smith, whatever they think they need to be, whoever they think they need to be putting back there. but I think you got to give it a little bit more of a chance in this game. And you also need, the defense to step up and make sure the game stays close enough that you can continue to put that running game out there and let it do what it needs to do. Let it churn, let it marinate. The Eagles have a lot of really talented skill players. I just feel like right now with the injuries the Chiefs have, injuries/suspension, that it's a bit of a mismatch with what the Eagles are going to be able to put up on the board versus KC.
I just still look at the numbers from Philly's game against Dallas, and I see a way that Dallas was able to carve out a path to victory for them. And again, if it was just a little bit more with some CeeDee Lamb receptions, if he acts like an NFL wide receiver and actually catches those passes,
that's crazy.
It happens for them. But look, Dallas outgained the Eagles in that one, even with the drops. Had more first downs. The third downs were about even. Fewer rushing yards, but more passing yards. They were penalized less. The Chiefs were really undone by penalties in that game against the Chargers, like big time. Something they got to fix. There's even been Matt Nagy mentioned the fact that Jawan Taylor needs to stop with the penalties, and when a coach starts to call that out, then you realize that now, okay, we're done dealing with this problem, or we don't want to have this headache anymore. Dude, you got to cut it out. I don't know if he actually is going to do that, but that's something that the Chiefs have to make sure that they're cutting down on. That don't turn the ball over. The Cowboys had a turnover in that game. The Eagles didn't, but still were able to make a game towards the end. Like if the Chiefs are able to protect the ball on their home field, if they're able to at least get some sort of run game, as you mentioned, Brendan, going so that it can open up the pass, which is how you can beat the Eagles this year. Secondary is a little thin. And if Mahomes is able to find a good rapport with some of those receivers that he has available right now, certainly going to rely on Hollywood Brown, got to rely on Kelsey. But that doesn't mean you can't have a big play that comes up from either Juju Smith-Schuster or Tyquan Thornton or somebody else that we're not naming here. Someone's got to come up with a big play. So there are a good amount of things that have to happen, but they've happened time and again with this head coach and quarterback combination to the point where, I do think the Chiefs have a solid setup to pull off what is on paper an upset based on what the point spread is. But I still don't see why it needs to be that way.
I guess part of why I'm not too willing to look at the Eagles-Dallas game and say, well, the numbers dictated that, the Eagles were outplayed, and so the Chiefs can do it too. I think there's some divisional rival fairy dust that was sprinkled on that game where it's the opener. Everybody and their brother was on the Eagles for that game. It was like an 8.5 point spread in a divisional game between two, pretty storied franchises. I just feel like there's more to it than just the raw numbers. Sometimes you can't quantify that, but that's part of what I'm looking at that going, all right, it's every year our desire to react to week one, but when week one's all we have, inevitably we're going to overreact to week one. And I feel like that's a little bit what it would be to do to say, oh, Dallas is basically as good as the Eagles this year, because I just think that was a divisional game where we're going to have to see more from both of those teams. And in the same way, I don't want to look at the Eagles and say, well, they're that much worse than they were last year. Secondary is definitely going to be interesting because they lost two key pieces in the offseason from that secondary, and how they replaced them, they really haven't in a major way. So that would be a concern for me if I were an Eagles fan, if it weren't for the fact that the two top receivers for the Chiefs are going to be out for this game. And so will that potential aspect of the Eagles' armor to exploit and to find your way in, is that really going to be something the Chiefs can take advantage of when it's Tyquan Thornton and Hollywood Brown instead of Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy? I feel like that's the one area that the Chiefs should be able to attack, but they're operating at a deficit in that regard as well. And so that's where I'm a little bit concerned. I do think it's a close game. I just think that, even on the road, I would have the Eagles favored by a little bit more than they are. It's like a 1 point spread, give or take, right now.
And look, we'll see what both teams look like with the changes that they've undergone since last year's Super Bowl, but I would be shocked if we see something like that again. Both teams will be.
Oh, me too.
Will have counterpunch after counterpunch. And
to be clear, it's not going to be whatever that score was.
But but I also see this as a chance for the Chiefs defense to prove something. Like it. Also, well, I mean, there are plenty of people on the Chiefs that have some proving to do now. And do you doubt their ability to make it happen? I mean, we haven't had that many discussions about the Chiefs over the last couple of years. We just assume like, oh yeah, they'll get things done. They don't have to prove anything to us. But now all of a sudden, like people are very clearly writing them off, saying, oh yeah, they're staring 0-2 right in the face. If that happens, you got to worry about whether or not they're even going to make the playoffs and whatever might come their way after that. So I see that on both sides. Clearly that's on the Mahomes side, but I also see it with the defense, man. Like they did really well against Saquon in that Super Bowl. And so if they're able to do that again, keep Jalen Hurts at bay, obviously that's another worry that so you have. Well, I say particularly with the run game part of that. And so like if you're shutting down the run against that Eagles team, then maybe you're making them do what they did in the Super Bowl again. Will they be able to make that happen with this iteration of the Chiefs defense? I don't know. I would think that that the Chiefs should go for a stronger pass rush because look, Dallas was probably reeling from the fact that they had just lost Micah Parsons the week before and had to try and figure it out. And still was able to get to Jalen Hurts time and again. So I would think that after maybe a lackluster first game from the Chiefs front four, if they have a chance here to potentially get to Jalen Hurts for a game like this, that's what I'd be looking for.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts, and again, I don't want to overreact to the Dallas game, but he was just gliding all over the field in that game. It seemed like there was nobody even remotely close to tackling him in those moments where he's scrambling for a first down or a touchdown in some cases. So I do worry about that more than the Saquon thing because we saw the Chiefs find a game plan for how to limit Saquon. I don't want to pretend like you can just completely take him out of the game. I also think that they sold out to make sure they stopped him to a point that it maybe impacted their ability to stop the Eagles in other ways. And the Eagles' versatility offensively is a concern. Like you can't just say, hey, we're going to make sure that guy doesn't beat us. Like, cool, you can have a gold star and a ribbon for that, but you still are going to get beat by Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown on the outside. You're going to get beat by Jalen Hurts with his legs. Like the Eagles, I think, have enough firepower to find the thing that you're letting go and exploit it. Dallas Goedert being banged up actually, though, could serve very well for Kansas City because he's an underrated aspect of that offense. And
7 passes.
That's a big deal because I think that was kind of one of the answers as to what, goes by the wayside when you're so focused on singularly, don't let Saquon beat you. Somebody like Goddard slips through the cracks. And if he's not, available, I don't remember the injury report up to date on Goddard, but I know that he's in a bit of a banged up spot right now.
875-KTGR if you want to call or text us here to weigh in on Chiefs Eagles.
And he is out, by the way, Dallas Goedert. So that's significant. I would go as far as to argue that moves the spread from 1.5 or 2 down to 1 by itself. I think that's a huge loss for the Eagles. I still, as we go into who we got, I still think I'm on the Eagles side for this one, but that does matter. That shouldn't be overlooked.
Daniel saying, I think the Chiefs have an SDP mindset this week and will take care of the Eagles. I tend to agree. Like first home game, you get a chance to welcome in that team that embarrassed you in the Super Bowl. I just think that they have had that circled for a while. Not to say that I don't think they were overlooking the Chargers by any means. Like it's hard to overlook your first opponent, but it's still something that I'm sure the Chiefs wanted to get out of their minds as quickly as possible. And so the fact that they're playing the Eagles this early in the season, I think actually benefits them to the point where they still have that sour taste in the mouth from that Super Bowl. It's still kind of raw and they want to take out some frustration, which look, if that means that they come out a little bit too amped up, then that could be a problem. But again, Andy Reid teams don't do that. I have not seen Chiefs-led teams by Andy Reid be too amped up, be not ready for the moment, especially for regular season games like this. I tend to believe that they'll have the right mindset to have those types of execution spots.
Yeah, I think the mindset will be right. And I'm not saying the mindset was terrible in the first game against the Chargers. I just don't know that they had the personnel. Again, I'm really mostly referring to Worthy with that, but then just the execution on all sides. And like part of that too is that I think the idea that we've uncovered and given our final say on what Justin Herbert is was probably untrue. I think we all kind of we're just kind of like, we've got some Justin Herbert fatigue as a society. We're like, yeah, sure, Justin Herbert. But like we kind of mentally plot him into that middle of the NFL quarterbacks. And maybe he's really like a top 6 or 8 quarterback. And he's going to show us that this year. So we'll see, how much that comes to fruition. And then we judge the Chiefs' result against Los Angeles off of that. But I don't know. I'm not predicting a Super Bowl redux. Like, this is not going to be a blowout. But I think in the end, I just worry about the Chiefs' ability to get over the hump with the number of things the Eagles can do. The way the Chiefs win it, though, if I may, I think it's kind of by outgunning them, outscoring them in a little bit of a higher scoring game, because the Eagles' defense can be susceptible to a few things. And again, the Cowboys should have scored 27 or 30 points on the Eagles and didn't quite get there. Chiefs could do that if they exploit some of the same things that Dallas was able to do and just couldn't quite get over the hump.
And the fact that the Cowboys held Saquon Barkley to 60 yards also is notable. Like, Chiefs can do that. I was on 18 carries. They gave Saquon plenty of chances. We'll see if the Chiefs are able to keep things going against them. But I don't know. Very intriguing. Call or text us with score predictions, 875-KTGR. I'll let you start with yours if you want. And just go.
Yeah, do we know our over-under for this game? I always try to be at least in somewhat aligned with what the total is, just to not be off the wall.
We'll get to it. I believe it's around 46
I'll pull it up.
and something like that.
That game last night was one of the highest of the week in the NFL, by the way. 48.5 was the total for last night. It fell a little bit short of that, but it's been kind of more of a defensive. But like I said, if the Chiefs are going to win, I think it needs to be a big scoring game, which I think would need to go over the 46.5. Boy,
it is 46.5, 47 even in some places.
Yeah, and I think over is what you want if you're a Chiefs fan. But I'm gonna say Eagles 27, Chiefs 24. I'm even gonna say it does go over, and the Eagles just do a little bit too much offensively. It's not like this blowout game. It's not gonna be this high scoring. It's gonna creep up to 50 by the end of it. It's going to be a bit of a slow start. I would even consider first half under. I might even ask Robbie about that when we have him on. But I'll go 27-24, Eagles.
Interesting. I would actually like first half over and maybe second half under. I don't know if you can do that. Can you? I think you can, right? You can bet just second half.
I don't know. I like during the game, I know you can once it's halftime, but I have no idea. I probably could.
I would say I would like the under for the second half total, actually, for this. That certainly was the case in the Eagles' first game. But Kansas City will they'll find their footing in the middle 8, and they'll find a way to capitalize upon that, make the plays necessary in the fourth quarter to just inch ahead. 30-26 is my prediction.
Plausible.
That's clunky. That's kind of clunky.
A little bit.
That's a lot of back and forth. That's a lot of field goals, maybe some missed extra points or something like that. But Chiefs can win clunky. They don't care. I think they'll do it that way. Shane says Chiefs 20-17. See, I'm kind of with you, Brendan. I don't know if that's the game that they win against this type of team, because the Eagles offense will still find some good openings against you, even though here and there you got to find a a couple of really good third down plays that stall a drive out for the Eagles and make them do something they don't want to do. That is what it's going to come down to, because they're probably going to convert a lot of their third down chances. But just throw them off on one or two possessions, and that might be the opening that you need.
Yeah, I would agree, though, on that 27. It's just harder to envision that lower scoring game going Casey's way. But they can win any type of game. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted here. It's going to be very interesting to see stylistically what we get between two teams that saw each other in February, and now they do look different. And that result was decisive. This one won't be, but the style of the game as the two familiar foes sort of feel each other out will be compelling to me.
So you're saying the Chiefs start 0-2. Does that mean that they're like in danger of missing the playoffs with that type of start?
I have already said that that is the case. They are in danger of, they're in real danger, in my opinion. I mean, they win this game, it's a completely different script, and we can go, all right, they're going to muddle through the first 6 weeks and be 3-3 or 4-2, and they're ultimately going to be fine. I do not, and have not all week, believed that that's going to be the outcome to this game. So yeah, if it goes to 0-2, we're going to look at that schedule on Monday and go, when Rashee Rice gets back, what's the record? And you know, this feels like a big swing game for that.
It very well could be. I still believe that even without this, 3-3 by the time they get Rice back is still plausible.
Plausible, but I wouldn't predict it.
Not likely. They would have to maybe play a bit over their heads, especially over the first couple of weeks than they had. But
they do get a reprieve, though. They play the Giants next week. That is such a blessing. That is such a, because there's no way they're losing that game.
Is that at New York, though?
It's on the road in prime time, but give me a break.
See, I mean, well, right.
Unless they're starting Jackson Dart. Then I'll change my mind.
0-2 start for the Chiefs, and people will say, well, do I like the Giants? Do I want to take the points on the Giants at least?
I will hammer the Chiefs if they lose to the Eagles, and that number for the Giants is less than 6. Yeah, okay. I'll still be like, there are limits to my pessimism here, but and the limit, we have found it. It's Russell Wilson is my limitation there.
The limit does exist. It is, in fact, Russell Wilson as a New York Giant or anything associated with the New York Giants. Jets are the better team now anyway. 875-KTGR if you want to call or text us here. Score predictions for the Chiefs and the Eagles. We'll put them down also for Mizzou and Louisiana coming up tomorrow. We'll get our predictions in around 5:05. And up next, from a Vegas perspective, Rob Vino joins us to weigh in on Chiefs-Eagles, how that looks from his side of things in Philadelphia, of course, and the other key points of the NFL slate, and also some big college football games this weekend. Rob Vino joins us next on The Big Show.
Miss the latest edition of The Big Show? Catch up on demand with a full show podcast on the KTGR app. Download it now, wherever you get your apps.
On game day, every needs a. And every tailgate needs Kingsford charcoal. And a match. Whatever lot you're in, whatever you're grilling up for your fellow Tiger tailgaters, Kingsford charcoal is the official charcoal of Missouri football. Without it, you're just standing around in a parking lot. Since 1920, Kingsford has been proud to fire up your tailgates with friends and family. Kingsford.com.
Columbia just got armed. Minutemen Defense is your new destination for guns, ammo, and tactical gear that means business. From holsters and body armor to night vision and magazines, if you need it, they've got it. Plus, the cheapest ammo in town, guaranteed. Located right off I-70 and Rangeline for fast, easy access, locally owned, veteran approved, built for serious shooters. Minutemen Defense. Get there. Visit MinutemenDefenseLLC.com.
Discover, explore, and soak in the views of the incredible landscapes that make up the last frontier, Alaska. Experience the diverse culture and rich history as we cruise the Pacific coast and explore the wilds of Denali, Glacier Bay, and beyond. And boy, do we have some good news. There are currently still seats available, but don't wait, as you only have until October 3rd to book this once-in-a-lifetime trip. To RSVP and learn more, go to ZimmerCommunications.com today.
From Branson Landing to the Capitol Dome, Union Station to the Tigers' home. Big old service is Missouri's best. Our trusted team outpaces the rest. Show me safe coverage wherever you go. We've got you covered at Big O.
It was 9 a.m. on a Monday when the phone rang. Brian Ware Plumbing answered the call. It was a caller whose backed-up toilet was now causing a water disaster.
Hold on, sir. We'll transfer you to our restoration division.
Wait, what? Brian Ware has a restoration division? Remember what was said at the beginning of the phone call? Let's roll it back in slow-mo.
Brian Ware Plumbing and Restoration.
Yep, Brian Ware now does water and mold restoration. Better call Brian and unplug your plumbing problems, or your restoration ones, or you know what, we'll work on it. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
This is Kim with Hearing Aid Consultants. For some, the thought of wearing a hearing device makes them feel old. In reality, improved hearing helps prevent accelerated aging. Untreated hearing loss not only can decrease your lifespan, but it can also lead to a faster decline in cognitive abilities and increase the likelihood of dementia. Come see us at Hearing Aid Consultants for your free hearing evaluation today. Hearing Aid Consultants in Allmake Repair Lab in Jefferson City. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow. HearingAidConsultants.com.
This weekend, cancel your plans. Brunch is calling at the Dive Bar in Columbia. Start with biscuits, not just any biscuits, local made, buttermilk, sweet corn, even gluten-free, smothered in scratch-made gravy, pork sausage, or the chorizo. Don't forget the loaded biscuit, fluffy omelet, drenched in gravy, stacked so high it's basically brunch art. And then there's the Dive Cristo, smoked ham, house-made raspberry jam, gooey cheese wrapped in a flaky puff pastry. The Monte Cristo wishes it was this good. Brunch, Saturday and Sunday only at the Dive Bar in Columbia. Don't just eat, experience.
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
Hey, get ready for some big-time football this weekend, both in the NFL and in college matchups. Of course, the Super Bowl rematch in Kansas City on Sunday. Call or text us with your predictions on it, 573-875-KTGR, here on The Big Show with Brendan. Now joining us on the KTGR hotline, Rob Vino of WagerTalk.com. You can see him also on YouTube right here. We're at KTGR Sports, and great to have him for sports from a Vegas perspective. And Robbie, Super Bowl rematch, and certainly in your neck of the woods, it's felt, I'm sure, over in Philly.
Yeah, it certainly is, Andy. And I've got, the Eagles travel well. I've got buddies who took the flight out this afternoon, and they'll be in Kansas City trying to raise a ruckus. But I've been in the stadium. It's pretty friendly in there for the most part. The game itself, though, guys, it's interesting because what's being talked about the most is the health of the Kansas City wide receiving core, which isn't in great shape for sure. Limited deep threats. I know I was one who was on the Chiefs bandwagon all summer long, thinking that having Hollywood Brown, we knew they weren't going to have Rashid Rice for a few games for sure, but the Xavier Worthy injury, just, that's a freak thing. But now to become a dink and dunk team again for the most part is, not what they really wanted to be. However, the other side isn't as pretty either. I know the Eagles are lucky to have Jalen Carter back. I thought he might get a suspension. He didn't. But they're not the same pass rush team, and they certainly can be picked on in the secondary, which Dallas showed until the lightning delay. Let's face it, Dallas had scored maybe 4 straight drives or whatever it was. So Kansas City has their opportunities here. We'll see if the defense can get to I guess you stop Saquon first and then go from there. It's still a potent Philadelphia offense. It's an interesting matchup. I think if this were, because this is on a card where there's 11, 12, 13 other games, I don't know that I have to play it. If it was a solo game, I'd probably be coming on here telling you guys which way to play, but it's a difficult handicap to say the least.
And how about too on the total? We're seeing like 46.5, 47. It feels as though, you mentioned some of the deficiencies there in the Eagles secondary, but if the Chiefs don't have the firepower to really exploit that to the max, how do you kind of view on the style of game we might see, Rob?
Yeah, that's the whole thing, right? I think for sure Philadelphia wants to come out and establish the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I'm sure that Kansas City, after the Super Bowl, wants to prove that they can make some plays. And it would be up to, somebody like Thornton to get the Eagles' attention. But like you say, that's all question marks heading into Sunday, right? We really don't know those answers until the game is played. And it's hard to handicap that way when you don't at least have a good feel for what's going on. I wouldn't doubt that Andy Reid's opening game 15 play script is a good one. It always is. And I also wouldn't be surprised that the KC offensive line holds up a lot better this time around than it did in the Super Bowl. Those are two assets for the Chiefs. And maybe, guys, a reason to maybe isolate this game and play Kansas City first half and not let the whole thing develop, because you never know what's going to happen in the end of these tight like games. See Buffalo-Baltimore last Sunday. What a disaster that was for the Baltimore Ravens.
Certainly was. Rob Vino of WagerTalk.com with us on the Big Show, KTGR, and the KTGR app. And as we go to other NFL games, Robbie, I actually want to go backwards to what the Packers did last night in a game that, look, both teams come in 1-0. Everyone's hopping on the Commanders, of course, with how they looked last year, and they want to see what Jaden Daniels is doing in year 2. But it seems that the Packers are turning into a very large NFC favorite, and maybe in some books. I know, like in most books, it's just like they're catching up still, and it's probably even with the Eagles, I would think. But with that rise that the Packers have made, how do you kind of view them going forward with some of their bigger matchups that I'm sure they'll have to come here very soon?
Yeah, you know what? If you're somebody who was opposed to the Packers and talking about fading the Packers or anti-Packers, I think the only thing you have left as a concern is, can they win on the road? Because at home, they've dominated two really, really good offenses. This makes Detroit actually look a little bit better, guys. They dominated time of possession. They did move the football. I know there was a lot of, wow, Ben Johnson's gone. Detroit stinks on offense. Look at this. But after what we saw last night, and as somebody who had their money taken from them last night by Green Bay, because I thought the Commanders' offense would put up some points. I think their team total was 22.5. They never really got close. You can see that Green Bay is going to be a handful, especially at home. They don't even have their entire receiving core yet. So to those who may have been on that, ship that says Green Bay is not really that good, I think the road is the only thing they have left to prove. If they can go on the road and do what they're doing at home, then, you can start talking about them as a real contender here. We'll see how it goes.
It's interesting you mentioned that from last night, Rob, where it's like right now every game we see is a data point. We just don't have that many of them. And so to adjust our expectations off of what we're seeing it makes sense to do, but you also have to be careful with it. To that end, how does a game like last night make you view what we're going to see on Sunday between the Bears and the Lions? Because that's, of course, the Ben Johnson return, and the Lions are a home favorite, but it's less than a touchdown. After the first game, everybody would say, oh my gosh, what's going on with the Lions? Do you look at last night and go, wait a minute? I mean, the Lions, we may have, counted them for dead a little too soon if that's what the Packers are going to be every time they face these known quantities. That Jaden Daniels is a really good player. Do you view that game differently at all based on going, all right, now wait a minute, this Packers thing against the Lions might have been more than just an issue for Detroit?
Yeah, and I think when you go back through the drive charts and the statistical analysis of that game, it shows that Detroit wasn't all that bad. They just didn't reach the scoreboard as much as they could have. So that makes them look even better. When you combine that with the fact that Chicago is on the short work week, when you combine that with the fact that Dan Campbell and company probably learned from Brian Flores, hey, we played a half without putting any pressure on this kid, but when we heated him up, he couldn't do a thing. So you could expect Detroit to bring that to the table on Sunday too. I think it makes Detroit look better in a lot of phases as a play on Sunday at a price of only 6.5 against the Bears. And one thing I'll add to it, guys, and it works in both instances here, but it's back-to-back divisional games for both of those teams. And these divisional games are the most important of any on an NFL schedule. So Detroit does not want to be 0-2 inside that NFC North to start the season. I think there's a lot of reasons to like the Lions.
For sure. Rob Vino of WagerTalk.com here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. We want to get to some college with you, Robbie, because there's some interesting games this weekend. But we want to start with Mizzou, obviously. Not a huge test that they have this weekend against Louisiana Lafayette. They're about 4 touchdown favorites. But just with what you've seen from their offense recently, and certainly how last week's game went against Kansas when they put up 42, are totals in danger now in just about any Mizzou game that you look at, like when they put those numbers out there? Or is it fair to maybe look over more often than not based on how they've looked offensively?
Yeah, and again, the number is always the great equalizer, right, guys? Depending on where the odds makers go with these numbers, we'll find out. But you can honestly say that Bo Prevula at quarterback, whether it's with his legs or certainly he throws a very pretty pass all 3 levels. They're a threat. And to be down 21-6 the way they were, or 21-7, whatever it was, and come back in the fashion that they did, where they gained over 500 yards in that game. It was a dominant effort. Kansas is not the best defense in the world. We'll grant them that. But still, SEC teams need to beware of this offensive line, of this offense in general. So, Andy, to your point, probably yes, I would look over first, unless there's, let's say a Missouri game would normally be totaled at 54. If all of a sudden they become 57.5, 58, and they start taking key numbers away from you, then you have to rethink and readjust.
Be interesting to see for sure. Mizzou, big-time favorites over Louisiana this weekend. We'll see how the Tigers are able to handle that one, especially with that kickoff being moved up due to the heat in the area. Other games in the SEC that I find interesting, Florida's in an interesting spot here, Rob, when it comes to going to Death Valley at LSU. But I also feel like we kind of look at LSU and say, well, yeah, they're one of the top 5 teams in the country because they got that great road win against Clemson. But then it's still early enough in the season where it's like, what if Clemson's not really what we thought they were? And we're still kind of gathering those data points. How do you look at that one between the Gators and the Tigers down in Baton Rouge with about a 7-point spread as I'm seeing it?
Yeah, pretty much the way you described it from the LSU standpoint, Brandon. We just don't know right now. Is Clemson just a team that hasn't gotten untracked yet after 2 weeks? Or are they not the offensive juggernaut that we thought they would be? Is Cade Klubnik not the quarterback that everybody thought would go in the top 10, top 12? Yet to find out. We'll see if Clemson can progress offensively. But in the meantime, it leaves you in a quandary with LSU, who last week, guys, you could honestly say, well, 23-7 over Louisiana Tech. It's not impressive, but it was a classic flat spot. You just beat Clemson. Now you're going to come home, be a monster favorite, and then you're going to play Florida, an SEC game on deck. So not a lot of interest there is an excuse you could make for the 23-7. Or you could say, you know what, Garrett Nussmeier and company aren't that good. They could only get 23 against Louisiana Tech. It's hard to solve those problems without the 2020 hindsight afterwards. I would say this about the game coming up. Poor Billy Napier. He's on the hot seat. He gets off for about 15 seconds. They throw him right back on. It's even hotter. And it was this way last year when DJ Lagway put up some big numbers against LSU and they actually beat him. Here, it's a difficult spot to go into, right? Death Valley at night, very tough. So situationally, that favors LSU. But situationally, I think Florida needs a win in the worst way. And who's to say that South Florida isn't that good right now? They shut down Boise State's offense. They shut down Florida's offense. Maybe South Florida is that good. I think taking plus 7.5 or 8, whatever it is with Florida is probably the way to go.
Rob Vino of WagerTalk.com with us on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. I believe now this week we get also the first top 25 matchup within the SEC, Georgia and Tennessee. Big reason of why people probably like Tennessee there is because it's in Knoxville. They get to host this one. And look, it's kind of proving ground for both teams as to whether they're going to enter the upper echelon of playoff contenders here. But how do you kind of see it as both have not really been tested all that much yet, but now finally they are?
Yeah, and I think in the case of Kirby Smart, guys, you can always say, how much has he really shown so far? He's one of those guys that will keep it close to the vest until necessary. We don't know if Gunnar Stockton is going to be unleashed in this game. Remember, Tennessee's playing without their top 2 corners in this contest. If ever there was a time to throw the football, if you're Georgia, it's this game. And maybe Kirby Smart held back. Those 2 corners didn't play last week. Tennessee missing one of their top offensive linemen for this game. So injury-wise, they're a little shorthanded despite being at home. I think I would trust the Georgia defense. I think I would trust Kirby Smart. This line was really, really bet hard. I think Georgia's they were 3.5. Now they're only 4, but I think they opened like 8 in this game. So there's a lot of Tennessee money early. There's take back now. But I think the injury situation might be too much for UT to overcome here, and Georgia's probably the right play.
Robbie, what free pick do you like this weekend?
Oh, guys, I would say let me leave you with this. I'll leave you with a marquee game. Texas A&M goes to Notre Dame, right? First time out of College Station this year. Notre Dame had the week off after getting beaten Miami, game film, extra week for prepare and all that other stuff. I think I played Notre Dame in the first half in this one. They're laying 3.5. Figured they'll come out with the utmost intensity to start this game. I didn't want to give Mike Elko the chance to go into the locker room and make some adjustments and maybe make this thing close at the end. But Texas A&M, they did give up 203 rushing yards to UTSA. And if you can do that, Notre Dame's backfield and that offensive line should be able to run pretty well. I think Notre Dame from the outset should be the fired up team here at home. So I laid 3.5 in the first half with them.
All right. We'll see what happens there. Rob Vino, our man over at wagertalk.com, sports from a Vegas perspective, on Twitter at Rob Vino Sports. You can go check out wagertalk.com for all of their great betting info in your jurisdiction of legality. Thanks, Robbie, for coming on and enjoy the weekend. We'll talk soon. Take care, guys. Thanks for having me. Absolutely. Big Show is on at 442 KTGR and the KTGR app. Yeah, that's one that's, that's the other one that I was maybe thinking, could we ask about that? But Robbie just said, you know what? Here's what I'm thinking for this game. That's good.
You like it? Yeah, there's a lot of good. I mean, it ramps up quickly. I know we've kind of been looking through some of the boards the last couple of weeks and gone, we almost get ourselves hyped up for games that in some cases aren't maybe quite as prominent, but it feels like now we are. It's an embarrassment of riches with some of the good games that are on the schedule.
Oh yeah, we're starting to get to it. So we're looking forward to that, and we'll get our picks of the week coming up at 5:45. We'll see if we take Robbie's advice anywhere. Onto the bus coming up next. Odd situation with the Chiefs here that you might notice if you're going to the game on Sunday. And also, this was hilarious from Packers fans yesterday after their big win over the Commanders. That's all next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon, I'm Ben Hermes, and this live local sports center is brought to you by Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com. The Chiefs will play host to the Philadelphia Eagles this Sunday in Kansas City. This will be the first matchup between the two teams since Super Bowl 59, where the Eagles won 40-22, preventing the Chiefs from a possible three-peat back in February. As reported by ESPN's Nate Taylor, Kansas City wide receiver Xavier Worthy was a participant in practice yesterday, but is still listed as doubtful for this week's game. The Super Bowl rematch will kick off from Arrowhead this Sunday at 3:25. And the Missouri Tigers will look to keep their good vibes rolling to start the season as they host the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana tomorrow. The game was originally set to kick off at 2:30, but due to extreme heat in the forecast tomorrow, the game has been adjusted to a noon kickoff. Athletic Director Laird Beach says, quote, "Nothing is more important to us than the health and safety of our student athletes and the game day experience of our fans." And the St. Louis Cardinals were off yesterday, but they'll be back in action tonight as they take on the NL Central clash with the Brewers. Andre Palante will get the start on the mound. First pitch is at 7:10. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with Boone County Office of Emergency Management, and they are inviting you out to their 5th annual Ready Festival at Columbia's Cosmo Park on September 18th from 4 to 8 p.m. Get more info about this free event at ready.boonemo.org.
I'm Storm Track meteorologist Sawyer Jackson. It is going to be a warm but quiet evening. Temperatures dropping down into the upper 60s by the end of the night. Tomorrow is going to be a pretty similar story. Pretty hot out there for that Mizzou game. Temperatures by kickoff going to be in the low 90s, feeling like the upper 90s by the end of the week. We are going to be seeing this warmer weather lasting throughout the majority of next week with some isolated rain chances. Better rain chances are arriving on Wednesday and Thursday. I'm Storm Track meteorologist Sawyer Jackson, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
The Rich Eisen Show.
The Los Angeles Chargers are a top 5 team in the NFL. Yeah, they are. I saw them with my own 2 eyes, man. They got it all done. They did not suffer their usual issues against the Chiefs.
That's true.
They locked it down. They got it done. Herbert looked like an MVP quarterback. 300 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Quentin Johnston caught 2. Let's go.
Catch The Rich Eisen Show weekdays from 11 to 2 on KTGR and the KTGR app.
Hey, it's Andy and Brendan for Underdog Fantasy. Football is so very back, and Underdog is the best place to select your entries and win money all season long. But that's especially true this coming weekend, Andy.
Brendan, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to take one of your boys this weekend in my Underdog entry. Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he can do well against the Bears, particularly in the passing game. His stat on Underdog for receiving yards is at 27.5. I like that number to go higher when he takes the field against the Bears. So I'll go with your boy Jahmyr Gibbs this weekend.
You want to know what I think of that one? You know that song by Creed? Yeah, that's exactly what I think about that one for Jahmyr Gibbs against the Bears this weekend. And on Underdog, it really is that simple. You pick stats like that, add them together to make your Underdog entry. And if you get your entries right, you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. And you can play with as little as $1. So it's never been easier to get involved on Underdog. Download the app today and sign up with promo code KTGR to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code KTGR. Millions of fans have already won billions making plays on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Hello there. This is Quentin with JQ's On High in Jefferson City. We are looking for skilled and passionate hospitality team members who can bring both front of house charm and back of house know-how to our unique food service operation. We offer competitive pay plus tips, a fun work environment, and we welcome your creative input on our made from scratch menu. If you are dependable, love great food and great people, apply in person today at JQ's On High and be a part of something special here in Central Missouri.
You know that old driver in the corner of your garage? The one half jammed into an old golf bag that's now serving as a spider hotel? Yeah, somebody wants that driver, you know. Play it against sports. They'll pay you for the gear you're not using. Golf equipment, fitness gear, baseball, softball, and more. Bring it in and cash out, or upgrade to something you need for the upcoming season. Play it against sports once your used equipment. They need it. So don't sit on it, swing on it. Play it against sports in Columbia. Think of them first so you don't finish last. Play it against sportscolumbiamo.com.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Free-for-all RV Road Warriors, your best blast of Branson just turned into a bad day bummer. You ran out of gas, blew a tire, killed your battery, are sitting sideways in a ditch, and managed to lock yourselves out. Ouch. Hey, it could happen. And for the save, you call I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew for roadside assistance, too. Fuel, tires, batteries, locks, winching, you name it. When your world seems to have been wrecked, call the team they hope you never have to meet. I-70towing.com. Now serving Boonville. Winching.
Hi, I'm Tristan Colon, Mizzou grad and 6-year NFL veteran.
I'm Charlie Stickland.
And I'm Sarah Stickland McDonald of the Stickland & Stickland Injury Law Firm.
In football, home field advantage can make all the difference.
The same is true when choosing your injury lawyer.
We're locals. We know the courts, we know the towns, we know the people.
Just as I protect my team on the field.
Our family will protect your family.
When sorry just doesn't cut it.
Push back with Stickland & Stickland.
When you need power, reliability, and performance, there's only one name, Kubota. And at Farm Power Lawn and Leisure, we've been your trusted Kubota dealer for over 50 years. From Kubota tractors built to handle the toughest job, to Kubota zero-turn mowers for a flawless cut, to Kubota side-by-sides that take you anywhere, Kubota delivers. And when your Kubota needs service, our expert team keeps your equipment running strong because we stand behind everything we sell. Power through any season, tackle any job, get it done with Kubota. Visit us at 1702 Business Loop 70 East, Columbia. Farm Power Lawn and Leisure, your home for Kubota sales and service.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the big show on KTGR.
Well, just in case you're going to the Chiefs game on Sunday, good on you if you are. If you're familiar with going to Chiefs games in the past, you might notice that there's going to be a different voice coming through the speakers kind of abruptly, Dale Carter, who had been the PA announcer for several years, resigned this week. In fact, announced it in a Facebook post within the last day or so, saying that, look, they had been asking me to do it a little bit differently. I wasn't quite ready. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And he has since talked with some TV stations locally in Kansas City about this. Said, quote, on Tuesday, my contact called to say they want the other PA guy to start doing the third down call to shake things up. That was my red line. And said that there was a red line that he did not want to cross in the Facebook post that eventually broke the camel's back and said, yeah, I'm not going to. And this is kind of a beloved guy. He has a morning show in Kansas City on a radio station there. He's running for Jackson County Legislature as well. So kind of odd, but hey, you're going to hear a new PA announcer for the Chiefs on Sunday, it appears.
That is kind of a weird storyline. In like, okay, you're the PA guy, but they don't want you to do the third down calls. It feels like kind of a big part of the job. It
was odd. I don't know how clear it was in a lot of this. His Facebook post at first wasn't clear, and he's given a little bit more in some of these interviews that he's given. Still, we don't know a ton about how it really came about, all the behind the scenes things, and we also don't know the Chiefs' plan for Sunday. So it's very interesting. But for now, the Chiefs, at least,
Under the bus.
Having to be under at least for a little bit because they don't have to be a PA announcer. Jerry Jones also under the bus. This was funny.
Well, sure.
Obviously. Packers fans after the game, big win for the Packers against the Commanders. Micah Parsons, a big part of it. It just seems that Micah Parsons just won every single snap that he was on the field. Whoever he was going up against, he beat him. Didn't mean that he got to the quarterback every time. Didn't mean that he got credit for a pressure or anything, but he affected every single play. And Packers fans, while Micah Parsons was doing the post game on the studio set with the Prime folks, the Packers fans are chanting, "Thank you, Jerry," and just kept that going.
Pretty good.
And Micah Parsons was even like egging him on, like, "Yeah, pump it up, yeah, let's hear it."
Oh, he loves it. I mean, he loves thriving with the Packers for a lot of reasons, but that's got to be one of them because it makes Jerry Jones look like an idiot. It just does. This guy has singularly changed the Packers from good team, playoff team, divisional contender to juggernaut in the NFC. One guy. And
it's crazy.
Jerry Jones was like, I don't need him. We're good without him. It's nuts.
Very, very funny after the game there.
Under the bus.
So, we'll see what more of the Packers have in them. And it is interesting. Rob Vino saying, hey, did you need to show that they can win on the road? Next week, they have the Browns on the road. I think they'll win that one. I think they'll be just fine. Two sweet things today. First of all, today is the Hall of Fame induction ceremony for the Mizzou Hall of Fame class of 2025. And this is a monster class this year. Kareem Rush, Sophie Cunningham, Brock Olivo, Alyssa Munlin, Mike Alden, and Bob Brendel all getting inducted. I believe it is tonight at 7:45. It is free to the public, so you can go and attend if you would like. But that is certainly one that you do not want to miss. And I remember when they were announcing this class, I think it was around April when they were doing so. Did a really nice job with it. Had very well produced videos for everyone finding out about their induction. And there was a reason why I think they did it up this year, because this is a very loaded Hall of Fame class. 6 very, very influential individuals.
Yeah, it's a really cool deal. Like a lot of these names where you go, weren't already in? Like, I mean, there are some, it's a star-studded class for sure.
Yeah. So looking forward to that tonight, right before Mizzou takes on Louisiana tomorrow at noon. Second one, not Mizzou related, but Missouri related, Missouri State, in fact. Tomorrow, Art Haynes, longtime Missouri State Bears play-by-play announcer, has also been on Chiefs broadcasts. You've heard him there before. He's stepped away from that already this season, but obviously been dealing with some major health problems over the last few years. His final Missouri State football broadcast is tomorrow. Missouri State hosting SMU, and that'll be a very sweet way, I think, to send off Art Haynes, a beloved individual, not just in the Missouri State community, not just in Springfield, but in Missouri in general.
And maybe the 3 best words in sports: Missouri State money line.
Hey, that's a juiced up one.
Listen,
big time underdogs tomorrow.
They're plus 28. I would make the case.
Yeah.
That an old Abraham Lincoln on that would be a good rooting interest in case the Bears come out inspired.
Hey,
tomorrow. I'm just saying.
Win it for Art, baby. I would love to see that. So congratulations, Art Haynes. Have a great final call tomorrow if he's listening. He is. He's been on this show before. He's a friend of the program. Love to see him get to send off the right way with Missouri State. All right. Who you got between Mizzou and Louisiana tomorrow? That's also a 28-point spread, 27.5 to be exact in most areas where you're looking in your jurisdiction of legality. But give us your score predictions for tomorrow's earlier start, noon kickoff, Mizzou and the Raging Cajuns. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about our picks of the week that are coming up at 5:45 and some other major college football games that could be quite impactful to the playoff race coming up this weekend. We'll talk about it all next on The Big Show, KTGR. Hey, it's Andy Humphrey here with ProfitShares.com. Big football weekend, of course. And if you're not on ProfitShares.com, well, you should check it out because you can put together some predictions and compete against others online, all totally free. You don't have to put anything in. And if you do well enough, you can win gift cards to several restaurants here across mid-Missouri. You can also earn charitable donations for your favorite causes. And it's all, again, totally risk-free. So I made sure before the weekend started that I entered into the cumulative contest for the Profit Picks football, and I went to the pro side, put in several picks that I think will happen this weekend. And hey, you can do the exact same thing and see if you can beat me. So go to ProfitShares.com. That's PROPHET shares.com. A great way to show off your sports knowledge without losing anything, and you can win some pretty nice perks in the process. So go and check it out all football season long. ProfitShares.com. That's PROPHET shares.com.
Drove your new Defender, 63. Got in a fender bender with an SUV. No need to shout, don't go crazy. Just get your phone out, call FPP. They do all the work with your insurance company. 1, call the number. 2, take it in. 3, get your car back like new again. Take it from me, they make it hassle-free. You can't go wrong with the easy 3. Just a 1, 2, 3 with FPP.
FPPBodyShop.com. Winter's on the way, so now's the time to plan your tree pruning. Here's why. In winter, trees are dormant, which means there's less risk of disease. Plus, without all those leaves, it's way easier to see exactly what needs trimming. The educated, licensed, insured, and experienced crew at Advanced Tree Solutions knows how to protect your trees and your wallet. But spots are filling fast, so schedule your winter pruning today at AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com. Advanced Tree Solutions, LLC. Your tree's best friend.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Ed Benkin. There are injuries abound for week 2 of the NFL. Bills defensive tackle Ed Oliver is out for Sunday's game against the Jets, dealing with an ankle injury after accidentally getting stepped on in practice. Sources tell ESPN's Adam Schefter injury could extend beyond this week. Chiefs receiver Xavier Worthy is listed as doubtful for Sunday's game against the Eagles, still suffering from a shoulder injury. Steelers cornerback Joey Porter Jr. is out for his team's game against Seattle. Colts cornerback Javarius Ward won't play against the Broncos. He's recovering from a concussion. Rams right guard Kevin Dotson will be back and will play against the Titans. despite leaving last week's game with an ankle injury. As for the Lions, they will look to bounce back against the Bears. And as far as the NFC North, Coach Dan Campbell says there isn't any added pressure with Green Bay's 2-0 start.
I don't see that as pressure, and I mean, anything we're forced to compete is a good thing. And I love that, man. And we already knew what we were coming into this year with this division. It's a tough division, man. There's good players, there's good coaches.
The Lions and Bears both dropped their openers. Baseball at Wrigley, Cubs over the Rays, 6-4. College football, Pitt and West Virginia extending their backyard brawl matchup through 2029 through 2036.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
From Faro,
15 to the 10, to the house.
Bush,
Back to the wall. And it's got her.
and Arrowhead,
Touchdown. Kansas City.
to your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
Who you got? Mizzou or Louisiana? I think we know who you got, but you can tell us your score predictions. 875 KTGR. How will it go tomorrow for the noon kickoff between the Tigers and Raging Cajuns? 573-875-KTGR to weigh in. You can also comment on our YouTube channel at KTGR Sports. Go and check that out. And we'll also have some picks coming your way at 5:45, our picks of the week. We're still tied. All three of us, Brendan, myself, and the producers, we are still tied through 3 weeks. See if that changes after this week with our picks coming up at 5:45. Call or text us here at 875-KTGR. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
Mizzou, Louisiana. It kicks off tomorrow on Faurot Field at noon. That is a change from the original game time, so please prepare accordingly. Yeah, who you got is probably not the operative question this week. For me, the question is, can the Tigers pitch the shutout? Yeah, things are going to ramp up quickly with what should be a game day situation on September 20th. So I expect Eli Drinkwitz to impress upon his players this week that it's not time to sleepwalk through. Like, this is the dress rehearsal for when the next real test of the season happens. Go out and dominate it. Take pride in doing so. That's what I kind of expect from the Tigers this week, but we'll break down the matchup coming up next. The last time the Eagles and Chiefs played, it was a dominant win for one of the two sides. It was Philly that came out on top in the Super Bowl. I don't expect it to be a dominant performance by either team this time, but I can't shake the feeling that the Chiefs are staring down an 0-2 start. I just don't know that they're going to be able to contain everybody on that Philadelphia offense. Sure, you can slow Saquon, but then can you also limit A.J. Brown? Can you limit Devontae Smith? Can you limit Jalen Hurts through the air and on the ground? I think it's going to be a lot to ask for a Chiefs team that offensively just might not be able to take advantage of the weaknesses that are maybe starting to appear in the Philadelphia secondary. The Cardinals are surging toward the third wild card in the National League. That's right. They picked up a half a game yesterday. They didn't play, but the Mets lost again, so only 4 games back going into play today. Cardinals will be at Milwaukee tonight. And Brendan Donovan is back for St. Louis after a stint on the injured list. A couple of games in Springfield, and he's good to go. We'd love to see the Cardinals put up a fight against the division-leading Brewers. It is Andre Palante on the mound tonight, taking on Quinn Priester. Yeah, the Royals are Groundhog's Day, man. They really are. 3-2 losers yesterday to the Guardians. They can't score, but they can pitch. It's the same story we've told all year. They're now just a game above 500, and the playoff hopes dwindling in the same way that we thought that they would. I just wish they had some offensive punch, but they can't seem to find it, and if they do, it's probably going to be too little too late. Well, you heard it there in the National Sports Center update. Pitt and West Virginia extending the backyard brawl through 2036. I think that's great. Conference realignment has killed several rivalries, and we hate it when that happens. Mizzou, Kansas was obviously so great this year. Border war. Take the hint. Let's extend that thing.
Call or text us here at 875 KTGR. It's just common sense. There were some schools that could just
do it.
could get over it, right? Like get over
They hate each other so much that they can't imagine not playing each other every year. That's how much they hate each other.
Exactly.
All right? We hate each other that much too. Let's play the game. Please.
The hate kind of got in the way of actually scheduling the game again almost. Was that deep? Or was
Yeah,
it?
but how much do you really hate? Can you hate each other enough to just, you can't stay away from each other? Because that is true hatred.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
We just need to play the dang game. That's all I know.
That's
Find a
so
way.
true. Yeah. And there's going to have to be some changes to how the schedules get made while the SEC adjusts to 9 games. I don't know what that means for beyond 2026, which is, they're on the books for tomorrow, for next year, but then they have like a 4-year break in between. Like, do you move that up? Do you find other ways? What does that mean for the Illinois series? Like, do you have to let that play out and then make sure Kansas gets on the books at some point? There are still a lot of moving pieces to that, but they've got to find a way. I agree with you. It needs to happen. Let bygones be bygones and flush everything that might have come through with the immediate aftermath of the realignment and just play the game. That was a game that Pitt and West Virginia, they picked up almost as soon as they possibly could after, what was it, West Virginia that left the conference, I believe.
To the Big 12,
yeah. To the Big 12. And they were like, no, we got to make sure this is back on. That is well done and getting proactive to make sure that it stays for the next 10 years. I think that's a good thing.
Although I wonder, Pitt left to go to the ACC earlier than West Virginia left. Am I right about that? So I don't know when that all took place where they had to like figure out the game, but they've kept it the whole time.
Because technically the Big East was still a football conference at the time, right? Or was
I think that's right. I think that was where Pitt departed in 2011 or so. And so anyway, it doesn't matter. That's a rivalry. They've kept it going. Good on them. And that's what. And look, frankly, I don't care if Mizzou ever plays another Power 4 non-conference team for the rest of time, unless it's in the playoff or a bowl game. If it means Kansas every year, I would do that. And look, some years you would probably play more than one, and that would make for a loaded schedule, and that would make for some questions in like a playoff era where we don't know what a 9-3 is going to look like. But I do feel it's worth it to say, like, you challenge yourself instead of playing a Louisiana some years, instead of playing a UMass some years. I would be willing to play an extra Power 4 game to make it be Kansas as the constant, and now we're up to 10. And then every once in a blue moon, you might play a Colorado. You might, you schedule those other ones very selectively. An Illinois, every once in a blue moon. Can't play them both on the road at the same time. Got to stagger that. But I think for what that would mean to, the value of the Mizzou season every year, I would take that trade-off, knowing that, you know what, there are going to be some years where Kansas probably gets us, and that makes it more difficult to get the playoff. I think it's worth it. I really do. Like, we talk about this playoff thing like it's this, the end-all be-all, and it's important. Believe me, I want one. But it's also like a thing that Mizzou has never been in, and so it's always that carrot at the end, and we're going to get there. I totally believe that. But also, for this hypothetical thing that hasn't happened yet, would you move mountains to avoid a thing that could happen every year if you just swallow your pride a little bit and said it's going to be a little bit of a tougher schedule? I think that's the trade-off, and it's worth it to me. I don't know how they feel about it in the university.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
like,
I
we
get
want to
that.
make the playoff, but like, you're not going to make the playoff every year. You know what? Mizzou might get there more years than they don't. There's a world where that comes to fruition. But if we're just basing our whole lives around whether we make the playoff, you could be playing Kansas every year. That's pretty cool.
But it's not just about making the playoff, I don't think. I think it's about, some years it could be to get into 500. With that type of schedule, like, again, like that could still be what happens.
Those days are over. I hear you.
Well, again, like, if you're talking about shaving away your group of fives and you're shaving away absolute book it right now victories, that becomes like, do you want 11 toss-up games? And look, when you have 11 toss-up games,
if I need
UMass 6-6 every so often.
Listen, if I need UMass instead of Kansas as my schedule in order to secure 6-6, you can have it. I'll go ahead and still take Kansas and not go to the Insight Bowl or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, for those years, If we go 5-7 instead of 6-6, so be it. I don't really view those two outcomes as drastically different. And I also don't believe that for as long as Eli Drinkwitz is here, that we're very often going to be sniffing into that territory. Just my take.
Well,
you're not wrong.
Like
you're not wrong at all. And to say, like, you have to respect that, Florida was 7-5 last year, and they played just this gauntlet. Oklahoma last year, right? They weren't a very good team, but they weren't a terrible team, and they went 6-6. Like, that can happen to you sometimes with these SEC schedules, and it's only going to get harder with a 9th game. All that being said, if I am like straining to avoid 5-7 like the plague as my end all be all, where am I anyway? You know what I mean? That's just, I don't want to think in those terms. I would rather value that game. Like, again, would I rather go 5-7 because I played Kansas instead of UMass? Like, in theory, we're going to beat Kansas anyway. But if that's the line of delineation, just let me have that game. I'd rather play Kansas than play in a 6-6 bowl game,
Well, right, but you might be doing both. Like, that's the thing is that if you're putting that on the books and you're putting another Power 5 on the books, Power 4, and then you're playing 9 conference
games, which I would say
games,
is like not every year you would do that. You wouldn't play 11 Power 4s every time, but like every once in a blue moon, I would do it. And I would, again, if my concern is, but what if we don't get to 6-6? Who cares? We are probably going 7-5 at best if that was the conversation. So I'd rather just play the extra good, competitive games during the season and forego the bowl, if that's what that means in that given year.
And I'm all for the competitive games. That's for sure. I will be interested, though. Like, again, Eli Drinkwitz has made this rise, but his schedule will get tougher. And it's not just adding the 9th game, but it's also reshuffling the deck. You're not getting like Mississippi State and Vanderbilt, and well, maybe
this is the best time in history. Right? I don't want Vanderbilt. I don't want that smoke. Are you kidding me?
No, Pavi is gone.
Have you seen them?
Year. Like, he's gone.
No, he's gonna find a way.
Okay.
He's gonna find a way.
I guess so.
He's
You're
always
right.
gotta.
Yeah.
Do you have an ace in your sleeve again, Pavia? Ta-da! It's my 2-year eligibility card. I'm gonna play it now.
Yeah.
Like, what? Is this Magic the Gathering? What happened? Yeah. Somehow he always has another year.
Yeah. 573-875-KTGR. Let's get to Matt here on the KTGR hotline who wants to talk some Mizzou, Louisiana. Matt, what you got?
Hey, I just had a question about possible schedules. What do you think about Mizzou having scheduling Kansas and Illinois every other year? It probably won't happen, but I think it'd be pretty cool.
So you're saying schedule them both the same year, or schedule one or alternate?
Both. That'd be an extra 2 power games. So
yeah, you don't
play,
need to.
Yeah, that's
the thing
right now. Like, unless you are definitely asked to do it by your conference, I would say just play one or the other every single year. I would be fine with an either or, but like that messes
alternate
with,
and then just
call
it good. Like,
that
that's
messes
your power
a
games.
little bit with Kansas and Illinois. Like, are they okay with like, oh, this whole hunky thing? We don't want to make this just for Mizzou's schedule. We have our own schedules to worry about. Thanks for the call, Matt, here on the Big Show, KTGR. I think it's it is a lot to think about. Bottom line, Mizzou will have to buy out of some games that will be below that level, like at the group of 5, probably get some of those road games out, like San Diego State, even though I'd like to kind of see them play that San Diego
I'd love
State
to go there.
I'd love to go there, right? Nice time to
It's
go to
tricky.
San Diego.
We're going to get more time to probably look at that schedule, and there will be announcements as time goes along as they start to piece that together of what that looks like. I would like to go to Denton, Texas. I know it's a weird thing that they're scheduled to play a game in North Texas,
I
but
would not. I'm scared of that one. I'm scared of that one.
Oh,
no.
Oh, like to lose the game?
Yeah, I am. I'd get rid of that.
I like. Really?
Yeah.
You feel about that one the way I felt about UMass.
Every single year, that program has just gotten a little bit better year after year. You think by 2030 they're going to be knocking on the door of maybe a different conference? They could be.
By 2030, I might be in a place in life where I'm like, I think it's more fun to take the trip to Denton, Texas with the family than to have to be like, am I scared of Mizzou losing the game? It's not to say I won't still be just, rah-rah, M-I-Z,
I think you
crazy guy.
You like it now, but 2 weeks before the game, you're going to be like, man, why didn't Mizzou buy out of this? I'm scared of this game, out of my mind.
How about this? If I'm watching it on television or listening on the radio, I don't like it. If I'm going for like a good memory, I like it.
All right.
Which is also very true about the San Diego trip, which is like, if I'm going, what are we talking about? Let's go to San Diego.
I'm less worried about that one, but no.
But for me, it's like when I start to think about these trips, like selfishly, I'm like, it would be fun to go to Boulder. Like that would just be a fun weekend. More so than like, oh no, when I get there, is Mizzou going to lose to the Buffaloes? That I'm sort of, I haven't always been this way, but I've started to look at this future schedule now that we know something's getting chopped from basically every one of those years. I'm starting to go, I don't know. Do we have to lose Boulder? Do we have to lose San Diego? Could be kind of fun.
The Colorado one's interesting. I don't know how that will survive.
I hope they keep
but that's going to be an interesting one.
It's one of those things where, Andy, I think as this goes on, and like the groundwork has already been laid for this, where they get that announcement of, hey, by the way, strength of schedule matters more. +2 for strength of schedule. Like, we don't really know how that's going to materialize through the committee, but they're already like kind of pushing to say, hey, get ready for it to look different than it did. And if 3, 4, 5 years down the road, that even gets accelerated as more of these conferences kind of the dust settles on where everybody's going to be, and we maybe just live in a world where like a good 9-3, kind of like college basketball, those records, you don't have to be undefeated to be a 1 seed.
No.
Right. And obviously they played more than double the amount of games, but I think it could end up feeling a little bit more like college hoops, where we go, now, wait a minute, that team's a 1 seed. They lost 10 times. And then you go, yeah, but look at their non-con. And then they played in the best conference. Like, you could get a miniature version of that in football, not today or tomorrow, but by the time we're talking about these games in 2030.
It's still a much lower percentage of teams make the college football playoff, even in the NCAA tournament, which is also pretty minuscule.
And it's double the games. I get you, but 9-3, like if you were a team that went out and played that gauntlet, where you only maybe had one cupcake and you had your other two were tough Power Fours, and you had a tough conference and you went 9-3, you might not even be on the bubble. You might just be handily in. Like, we could get to that world, I think, with this new look SEC coming by 2026.
Call or text us 875-KTGR here on The Big Show. All right, you can give us score predictions for Mizzou, Louisiana tomorrow. This was one, before we get to our score predictions, this is an over-under that I forgot to mention for tomorrow. We should probably weigh in on it here. How about this one? Over or under 1.5 field goal makes from 35 yards or longer for Robert Meyer tomorrow.
Ooh, 1.5, huh?
Yeah.
Under, because I think the attempts won't be particularly lofty, because this Louisiana team is not going to stop us on the ground. I think there's not going to be that many. He'll make one, but I would say it's going to be under 1.5.
So you just think the offense just blows past them?
I largely do think that. And like, maybe he does miss one of the two. Is that a possibility? Like, when you're setting that line of 1.5, like maybe he goes 1 for 2 on such field goals. I hope that's not the case. If he kicks one, I hope he makes it. But I guess my score prediction, technically you could view a couple of different ways with what I'm going to do. You could say he misses a PAT or he makes multiple field goals. But I'm going to say from that 35 plus marker that you have outlined, I'll go under 1.5.
I like over, actually.
Okay.
And I like over maybe like in the first half. I think both of those could come in the first half, in fact.
It's just so random of like, where do they get stopped? I think Drink will be aggressive in letting him kick, from anywhere between 35 and 50. I think he'll aggressively look for reasons. They might even call a play if they're up, 14-0 early. They might even call a run play on 3rd and 8 just to kind of set one up. I don't think that's crazy, but it's just so random that it's hard to predict.
And I think in this game, there's always a possibility they come out maybe a little bit slower on offense.
A little flat?
Maybe a little bit to start out in the first quarter. Earlier kick,
if they were a team predicated on the pass, I would agree. But if they run the ball, I mean, it just takes the one guy.
Well,
really,
kind of both. I mean, there's both sides of that look very good, both aspects of the offense. So like, there's no real reason for it. It's just the fact that sometimes this happens to teams of Mizzou's caliber, and but it doesn't mean that they'll have much issue with the game. It doesn't mean that at any point during the game I'll think, oh man, they might lose this. No,
I don't expect to feel that way.
They'll have very good control of it by the time the midway point of the second quarter comes through, and then they'll have a comfortable halftime lead. But I'll say that Meyer maybe gets that chance on the first 2 to 3 drives that Mizzou has throughout this game, where maybe just get an incompletion or a drop that on third down that then predicates the field goal. No, I get it. I understand. It's not anything that's, again, against them. It's just that it happens to the best of us sometimes.
Kevin Coleman's going to get on the microphone and be like, don't doubt the receivers, Andy Humphrey. Kind of like Dalen Carnell last week with Zach.
Right. So I'll say over. Hey, I like this over-under actually from Adam. I want to get this into. Over or under the temperature rushing yards for Ahmad Hardy. What do we think? Highs around what? 96, 97
I'm taking
later
Hardy.
In the afternoon, probably. I don't know what the kick time temperature will be. Probably maybe low 90s, if you will.
Give me Hardy and Roberts to both beat the heat and go over the not only the air temperature. You can stick a thermometer in the rubber pellets and they'll both go over that number too.
Man.
Yes.
Wow.
Because that's why they're moving the game up is the turf, I think.
Yeah,
so when that turf says 113.9, yeah, they're still both going over on that too. Both running backs. You like that?
Both of them.
I told you they're the two best running backs in the SEC. Quan Lacey is playing for Bronx. That's my prediction is we'll continue that narrative after tomorrow's game.
875 KTGR. You can call or text us with your score predictions and comment on our Facebook page as well or on our YouTube channel.
I'm making you go first with your score, and then I'll go
I
second.
have my score. I want to get the scores actually from some of our texters. Shane says 49-3. Daniel says 48-7. Here's the thing. I do think because Mizzou's offense will look like it has over the first two games, but I don't think they show it quite as quickly as they have in games past. So that might affect a little bit of the final total that you see, but I think all in all, you'll still be satisfied with what the offense did. I'm going 37-6, Mizzou.
Which would be a cover.
Yeah.
Louisiana has run the football well, and that's going to be the test, I think, to see. Like, I don't really worry that much about the secondary in this game. And like, it's so hard to say. What did Rice do? They won that game 14-12. Rice had success on the ground though too. They had a guy go for 119. They had a secondary running back go for 74 yards on the ground. So they kind of had their way on the ground against this team. If Rice can do it, Missouri's there's not going to be very many third downs. There's just not. This is honestly probably not aggressive enough, but I'm going to go 41-0. Mizzou, they get it. They get the shutout.
All right.
They run, like I said yesterday, what did I say? 349.5. I take the over on rushing yards. They're just going to pound the rock. And it's not going to necessarily, put Bo in harm's way. They're not going to have to do a lot through the air. I don't think it's going to be necessary. At 41-0, they treat this like a very serious business arrangement before a big game. And Drink, I think his motivation has been that way since at least Tuesday in how he spoke to the media about this game. I think behind the scenes, the players are hearing the same thing. They're going to be ready for this game. And I think he's even going to instill it a little bit more. There's going to be some players probably Wednesday, Thursday of this week that were like, man, why is Drink so hyped up about Louisiana? And then it's going to, by the time game time gets here, I think it'll set in. I do not expect any sort of letdown. I think they're going to be ready to really dominate this game.
All right. Tell us your score predictions, 573-875-KTGR. We know Mizzou will be ready for that game. Will you be ready for it, though? And will you be ready for our Tiger tailgates coming up tomorrow? Earlier start. Again, we adjusted as well to make sure that you can party with us before the Tigers take on the Raging Cajuns. So the Tiger tailgate will open in front of Mizzou Arena at 9:30 tomorrow morning. So go and get your free Tiger tailgate passes at places like Big O Tires, Boone Hospital Wound Healing Center. You can go to Shangri-La dispensaries as well. And you just get those free passes and show them at the gate, and we'll give you free food from Dive Bar, free drinks from Bud Light, High Noon, Zing Zang, Lucky One Lemonade, and Midmo Water Solutions. It's that easy. So add in a Tiger tailgate party with us right before you see the Tigers take on the Raging Cajuns tomorrow. Go and get all the details on the free KTGR app. Call or text us at 875-KTGR. Some thoughts on the other college football action for this weekend. Some big ranked matchups to keep an eye on. I'm sure Mizzou will want to do the same with some of the opponents that will be in action this weekend. We'll get to that, and then our picks of the week at 5:45 on The Big Show.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
Epic Bug Battle Raps. Brown Recluse versus Tick. Fight.
Yo, Tick, you think you're sly, but you're an amateur fighter. I'm a brown recluse spider, spitting venom, cause I'm a better biter. You codependent loser, latching on skin. I wish we weren't related. You a lame arachnid. So sit back and relax while I bust on your bloodbath. I weave a web of truth. You're just needing a feeding and getting fat. Be ready for defeat when we meet, cause all it takes to kill you is a couple minutes inside a dryer on high heat. Listen, Charlotte, while you're weaving your web, I'll be burying my body inside another host to go and get fed. You want to talk dead? Who are you? Once you're found, all a human has to do is grab a shoe. Now you're squished, you won't be missed in your wish. Instead of 6 eyes, you had 9 lives and carry disease like Lyme. When people pop their shirts off and come looking for me, who's really the better bug when it comes to hide and seek?
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business, Steve's Pest Control.
There's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to football weekends, and that's what makes Yuengling such a great pick. From traditional lager to light lager, flight, golden pilsner, and black and tan, they brew a beer for everyone's taste. Whether you're manning the grill, setting up the tailgate, or just watching with friends, Yuengling's got a flavor that fits the moment. Brewed with nearly 200 years of tradition by the oldest brewery in America, Yuengling. Legends stand the test of time. DG Yuengling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of main event catering. And with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up to 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
Got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Sweetie, the backyard's that way.
Oh, yeah. Just figured I'd use the toilet.
It's not normal for your man to pee indoors. He could be suffering from low D, low deck. A low deck just isn't as fun to pee off.
Maybe I'll try sitting down.
Or no D, no deck at all. But there's help. With Kretsch's Custom Exteriors, a sky-high pee platform is all he needs to be and pee like a man again. Kretsch's Custom Exteriors, true beauty is on the outside.
From Branson Landing to the Capitol Dome, Union Station to the Tigers' home. Big old service is Missouri's best. Our trusted team outpaces the rest. Show me state coverage wherever you go. We've got you covered at Big O.
We're moving faster and faster these days with limited time to make an impact on potential customers. Hi, this is Jimmy at Pro Design. For nearly 2 decades, we've worked with companies to build strong brands. At Pro Designs, our team can create a vehicle wrap to drive market share, growth, and profits. Connect with your customers on the go, on the road, and on the job site.
Visit us on the web at PRODEZIGNS.com.
Come see them at their locations in Eldon or Columbia off Rangeline Street and I-70.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Your daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
So call or text us with what you think about Mizzou, Louisiana tomorrow. Who's going to come out on top? 573-875-KTGR. Score predictions for the Tigers and Raging Cajuns. We both have them covering the 27.5 tomorrow. I think most folks here have also given similar predictions. So it feels very ominous, but who knows?
Yeah, maybe this is one of those where like the confidence is too high and the other thing happens, but so be it. I'm being honest. Like I think Mizzou is an unreal mismatch for Louisiana. And I didn't even like feign to respect my opponent this week. I just think Mizzou should dominate this game. And if they don't, we'll talk about that. But, and like they could still win this game by 24 and you go, whatever. It is what it is. Like we've seen LSU, we've seen Clemson, we've seen South Carolina. Like a lot of teams have sort of played down to their competition so far this year. I think Drinkwitz wants to make sure his team doesn't do that. And so I'm kind of believing that they're going to put some some really good stuff on the field. But, there is a lot of other stuff going on. The heat's going to be a factor. Like, mostly keep everybody healthy. Like, even if you win by 17, just, we're going to be looking to make sure everybody stays fresh out there, stay healthy. Nobody has any issues with the heat, that sort of stuff. But I would like to see a dominant performance running the football, and you can spread the rock too. Like, they've got a lot of capable running backs, and I think we'll see all of them in this game.
So tell us what you think, what will happen there. And in the meantime, as we have our picks of the week coming up at 5:45, we'll talk about a few more of these games. But just in general, with the SEC starting to ramp up this weekend, you see more of those conference matchups. And my gosh, Georgia, Tennessee is the ultimate. Like, it is a huge matchup. It is meaningful, but I have no idea how to feel about it because I don't know what both teams have shown just yet. It's so odd.
I mean, Tennessee's shown well, but they've played a nobody and then a Syracuse team that, like, I don't know, they're Power 4, sure, but are they very good? I don't know that we know that to be sure.
They had to struggle to beat UConn the other day at home, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think that was overtime. Like, that's weird. So I don't want to overreact to, like, Tennessee hasn't done anything that I've gone and looked sideways at with their 2 games, and I can't say that about a lot of SEC teams in their sort of tier. And so, they haven't shown me anything that they've done wrong, and I kind of thought they would. Like, of all the teams in the SEC that I thought might have one of those early stumbles or, like, close calls, they're the one that hasn't through the first 2 games. Georgia hasn't blown anybody away. I don't think they've covered either spread, but they're winning like 38-7 over Marshall. Like, they're still winning going away, but it's not.
Yeah,
it almost feels like Kirby is trying to kind of just let everybody think that they're lying in wait a little bit. Like, Georgia might be down. They can't blow these guys out. I think they've had this game circled. That coaching staff has had the Tennessee trip circled since before week 1, and they haven't shown a darn thing yet, is what I would guess about that Georgia situation. So I prefer the Georgia side, but it's also, like you told Rob, like, it's a top matchup finally in the SEC where we're going to really get to start putting these teams up against each other.
And it shouldn't kill either team's chances either, but it still feels a little important based on, like, standings wise, who moves on to maybe Atlanta or something like that. Like, if Tennessee starts to go on this run and they use this game to jump off of that point and find their way up, then that could be very possible. And then Georgia, this is their first proof of concept game. Like, are they still the same type of juggernaut that they have shown to be over years past, or should we have questions about Gunnar Stockton? Very interesting stuff. Also, Florida LSU. Oh boy. Like, are we sure about this with LSU?
We're not sure about anything with these 2.
Yeah, man.
We're not sure at all about these 2. I don't think so.
No. And look, LSU did a little bit of chirping this week, not necessarily at Florida, but just at everything in general, it seemed. But, and then on the Florida side, I think, okay, Billy Napier now has a little extra motivation. Everyone's counting us out now, saying same old Florida, and, like, they can't overcome the schedule that they're going to have because they've already taken a loss to South Florida. But maybe South Florida's just that team this year. I'm thinking about the Gators this weekend. I'm not going to lie.
I'm thinking about the Gators. I'm also not sure South Florida might have some comeuppance. Like, I was a fader of Miami last year. This year, I might think they're real. So, like, I'm going to watch that game. I'm also watching that, hoping that maybe South Florida stuns them and that kind of gets thrown out the window for a game day possibility. Because the thing is, if Florida beats LSU, now suddenly there's a lot of hype surrounding that Miami versus Florida matchup.
Yeah.
But I think we very well could get that. South Carolina Vanderbilt is the game I'm looking forward to the most, though. Of all these games that I think, like, Georgia, Tennessee, great. Florida, LSU, awesome. It's going to be a good game. I am most excited about Vandy, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Those are 2 teams that Missouri still plays. One of them we play next week. The other one we go on the road to face. I think that's going to be a wild game. I mean, and look, the winner of that game, I think, is in a very good position as to me, a top 15 team in the country. I'm going to say that even if it's Vanderbilt. I mean, that would be a huge win to go get on the road. And we would not be overlooking Vanderbilt as a playoff contender anymore. You can't if they go into South Carolina, into Columbia and win that game at night, no less. I can't wait for that game.
They're going to have Alabama and Texas on the schedule too. Like they have to withstand that, but
they don't though. I mean, Vanderbilt could go 10-2 and lose those 2 games, and I mean that's a playoff team. I think I'd have to look see how many like.
What other wins would that mean for them though? Like,
South Carolina, they host LSU, they host Missouri, Auburn.
So they would have to beat all of those teams.
Dude,
okay, yeah,
it's
all right.
It's not even a question though. 10-2 gets them in, is what I'm saying. Okay. You can trip up twice if you're Vanderbilt. Obviously, I'm talking about freaking Vanderbilt. So people think they're going to do more than trip up. They're going to lose half their games because they're Vanderbilt. That's what people think. I'm telling you, if they beat South Carolina, they're going to roll Georgia State and Utah State the following 2 weeks and go into a Tuscaloosa environment that, yeah, Alabama's going to be looking to pick them off. What if Alabama struggles with Wisconsin this weekend and Alabama's just not that team this year? Like, very quickly, we're going to look up and go, okay, now Vanderbilt's 5-0 to start the season, going into that Alabama, LSU, Missouri, Texas stretch where they can win 2 of the 4, frankly, and then win Auburn at home, beat Kentucky, and then they'd have to win at Tennessee to end the season. I don't think it's crazy if this happens, but Vandy's got to go do it in Columbia first.
Call or text us 875-KTGR. What other games across college football have your eye? We'll talk more about those in our picks of the week, where we're still all deadlocked at the exact same record. Will that change after this round of picks? We'll get to that next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon, I'm Ben Hermes, and this live local sports center is brought to you by Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com. The Chiefs will play host to the Philadelphia Eagles this Sunday in Kansas City. This will be the first matchup between the two since Super Bowl 59, where the Eagles won 40-22, preventing the Chiefs' possibility of a three-peat back in February. As reported by ESPN's Nate Taylor, Kansas City wide receiver Xavier Worthy was a participant in practice yesterday, but is listed as doubtful for this weekend's game. The Super Bowl rematch will kick off from Arrowhead this Sunday at 3:25. And the Missouri Tigers will look to keep their good vibes rolling to start off the year as they play host to the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana tomorrow. The game was originally set for a kickoff at 2:30, but due to extreme heat in the forecast tomorrow, the game has been adjusted to a noon kickoff. Athletic Director Laird Veach said, quote, "Nothing is more important to us than the health and safety of our student athletes and the game day experience for our fans." And the St. Louis Cardinals were off yesterday, but they'll look to get back in action tonight in an NL Central clash with the Brewers. Andre Palante will get the start on the mound. First pitch is at 7:10. And your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with Boone County Office of Emergency Management, who are inviting you to their 5th annual Ready Festival at Columbia's Cosmo Park on September 18th from 4 to 8 p.m. Get more info on this free event at ready.boonemo.org.
I'm Storm Track meteorologist Sawyer Jackson. It is going to be a warm but quiet evening. Temperatures dropping down into the upper 60s by the end of the night. Tomorrow is going to be a pretty similar story. Pretty hot out there for that Mizzou game. Temperatures by kickoff going to be in the low 90s, feeling like the upper 90s by the end of the week. We are going to be seeing this warmer weather lasting throughout the majority of next week with some isolated rain chances. Better rain chances are arriving on Wednesday and Thursday. I'm Storm Track meteorologist Sawyer Jackson, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Join the biggest party of football season at KTGR's Tiger Tailgate. Download the KTGR app and find a full list of locations where you can pick up your free Tiger Tailgate passes. Then come party with free food and drinks 2.5 hours before each Mizzou kickoff in front of Mizzou Arena. It's our Tiger Tailgate with Dive Bar, Bud Light, High Noon, Zing Zang, Lucky One Lemonade, and Mid-Mo Water Solutions. Find out where you can pick up your free passes on the KTGR app.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Lee's Tire Company. They're my car people. I'm proud to say it. And if you go to Lee's Tire Company, you'll be proud to say it too, because whenever I bring my car into Lee's Tire Company, I know that I'm getting an honest assessment of what my car needs. If I need new tires, I know they've got an incredible selection to choose from, and they run specials every single month to put money back in your pocket if you need those new tires. And also, they've been family owned and operated in mid-Missouri for decades. And they treat their customers the same way they treat their families. So if you haven't experienced the Lee's Tire Company difference yet, go and check them out at Lee'sTireCompany.com. If you need new tires, you can browse through their extensive catalog, see which ones you need for your vehicle, and then go check out one of their 3 locations. They're on the Business Loop in Columbia, they're at University Garage right by the MU campus, and they have a location in Centralia that you can check out. Lee's Tire Company, they are the place to go for tires in mid-Missouri. Go check them out at Lee'sTireCompany.com. leestorecompany.com, because if it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. leestorecompany.com.
Save big money on new appliances when you shop at Menards. We have the largest in-stock appliance selection from great brands at the best prices, ready to take home today. Whether it's wanting new laundry appliances or it's needed upgrades for the kitchen, you'll be sure to find appliances that'll make your life easier. Visit the largest in-store appliance selection today. Plus, check out Menards.com to view all of our great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
You know that old driver in the corner of your garage? The one half jammed into an old golf bag that's now serving as a spider hotel? Yeah, somebody wants that driver, you know. Play It Again Sports. They'll pay you for the gear you're not using. Golf equipment, fitness gear, baseball, softball, and more. Bring it in and cash out or upgrade to something you need for the upcoming season. Play It Again. Used equipment. They need it. So don't sit on it. Swing on it. Play It Again Sports in Columbia. Think of them first so you don't finish last. PlayItAgainSportsColumbiaMo.com.
School's back. Schedules are packed, and the last thing you need is a list of home repairs. So reclaim your weekends with Bax Homeworks, the fastest, most affordable handyman service in mid-Missouri. Whether it's mounting that new TV, fixing leaky faucets, or replacing a ceiling fan, Bax has you covered. No job's too small, and no wait is too long. Visit Bax Homeworks on Facebook for monthly giveaways and awesome prizes. For more, visit BaxHomeworks.com. Bax Homework, putting your to-do list down.
Hello there. This is Quentin with JQ's On High in Jefferson City. We are looking for skilled and passionate hospitality team members who can bring both front-of-house charm and back-of-house know-how to our unique food service operation. We offer competitive pay plus tips, a fun work environment, and we welcome your creative input on our made-from-scratch menu. If you are dependable, love great food and great people, apply in person today at JQ's On High and be a part of something special here in Central Missouri.
You've already met a few members of the Family Pond family. Now it's time to meet the newest one. Family Pond's South Columbia location is just off South Providence. And just like every family pond, it's got a personality all its own. Different jewelry, different tools, different gadgets and gear. That's the beauty of the family. No two stores are exactly alike. So after you stop by your favorite, swing by South Columbia. It's your newest Family Pond store to explore.
Rock your traditional pawn shop. Family Pond.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
We're back here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Andy, Brendan, and producer Ben in the octagon once again for the picks of the week, which, golly, we just seem to be loving to be tied still through 3 weeks. We were tied last week at 5-5, all three of us. And now after week 3, when we all went 2-3, we're still tied. Brendan, what are we doing?
Oh, boy. Yeah, there were some misses last week. There were some regrets. There was some, I'll blame Lane Kiffin. He blamed himself for not holding that cover. I could have had a 3-2 if not for that little ditty. But look, we're going to try to bounce back this week, all of us.
Hey, let's see if we can get that done. So again, we're 7-8 overall on the season. We all went 2-3 last week, and so we will try to do better with the 8 college football and 8 NFL that are on the sheet for us this week. Let's run down Wisconsin at Alabama to start the college games, then Georgia at Tennessee, South Florida at Miami, Arkansas at Ole Miss, Florida at LSU, Texas A&M at Notre Dame, Vanderbilt at South Carolina, and, of course, Louisiana at Mizzou tomorrow. Then the NFL games, Jaguars at Bengals, Bears at Lions, Bills at Jets, Broncos at Colts, Falcons at Vikings, 2 Monday night games, Buccaneers at Texans, Chargers at Raiders, and then, of course, Eagles at the Chiefs. Who starts? What do we do?
That's a great question. None of us really deserve to be able to choose it. We could just do the order we picked last week if you want. That was producers Andy, Brendan was the order last week. And since none of us even were above 500, I don't necessarily feel we deserve to get to pick anything ourselves.
I know Ben's not going to object.
No, I won't. I'll take it.
He's going to be fine with it. So, yeah, all right. Let's do that then. Producers will start us off once again.
Alrighty, well, I'll start off in the NFL. I'm going to take the Bills over the Jets. They're in New York still. I mean, granted, they're all in New York, but in New York City, I should say, technically East Rutherford, New Jersey. But the Bills looked really impressive in their 15-point comeback in 4 minutes on Sunday Night Football last week. And though I do think the Jets looked pretty good, Justin Fields looked promising. I like the Bills to win this one by around 2 scores, so I like them -6.
Man, I'm straining.
You're not going to pick the Jets. I mean, that goes against your whole thing, right?
Well, the Aaron Rodgers Jets, but this is the
Well,
different.
that's true.
It's
So now you're going to try to pick the Steelers.
I won't go that way yet. I'll stay away, and I will say that. You know what? I think South Florida keeps it close against Miami. Big number. I don't know.
Big number.
I don't know if they win this game. Of course, they're going to be as fired up as ever. I do think Miami will eventually win out. They'll make sure that they don't make the same mistakes that Florida did, both physically and mentally, for a game like this. But South Florida, I think, has shown that they are a very solid team, and they will at least make this a close game. They could lose by 2 touchdowns. I'll take South Florida plus 17.5 at Miami.
Okay, Andy, you know the 2 greatest words in the English language are, of course, Mizzou money line. But that wouldn't be particularly effective this week, considering the 27.5 point spread, which feels like even larger than I saw it at earlier today. But that's neither here nor there. I'm going to give you a different 2-word phrase to describe my first pick, and that is anchor down.
Oh, boy.
Vanderbilt plus the 3. I think they'll win it outright. I am on the Commodores this weekend, and dare I say, this is going to qualify. It's either this or one other SEC game that I feel pretty good about that qualifies as my true pick of the week. Last week it was Mississippi State, nailed it. Week before that, LSU over Clemson, nailed it. Vanderbilt's in the running for this one, plus 3. I think they're going to ruin game day for us if it was ever going to happen.
Game day's not coming if South Carolina
not if
loses,
Vandy. But I tell you what, that Vandy team, they might just be better. I really like Vandy right now.
All right. We all picked road teams to start out in our first round. All right, go ahead, Ben.
Well, I'll flip to a home team on this one. This is a game that I kind of like. I'll take Tennessee plus 4 at home. Home dogs.
Ooh.
I like them. Joey Aguilar looked really good in the kickoff game they started off with this season. And I'm not really buying the hype around Georgia this year. I don't really know why. No Carson Beck, even though he was a little lackluster last year, but still Carson Beck nonetheless. You saw what he's done at Miami so far this year. And I'll take the home dogs.
Very interesting.
He's taking the home dogs instead of the actual dogs. How about
that? The road dogs.
There you go.
That are the favorites.
DAWGS.
Yeah. I'll also stay away from that. I think that might be the right side, actually. I will go down to NFL once again. I'm taking the Colts. Look, Broncos, I'm not sold on yet. They are a team that everyone wants to pick as a playoff darling once they, I guess, eventually get there. But I don't think it'll be that clean of a road. And I think they're my progress is not linear team. Bo Nix looks good, but I don't know if year 2 is as fruitful as year 1. And I think the Colts at home, I'm not saying Daniel Jones all of a sudden has the resurrection that we've been waiting for, but I think they at least have a solid game to win this, and then the 1.5 that I get on top of it, icing on the cake. I'm taking the Colts at home, -1 or +1.5.
I have so many games I like. If I don't have a good picks of the week, that's going to be disappointing. But I also need to kind of be a little bit strategic in trying to guess what might get blocked down the road. I don't know if any of y'all are taking this one, but I am thinking that we're going to have the game of the week in college football in Oxford, Arkansas, Ole Miss. The over-under is in the 60s. I like the Hogs plus 6.5. Sneaky money line opportunity here as well for Arkansas. Taylor Green has looked really good. And Ole Miss, I think, is the better team, but I don't know that they always live up to what they should be each and every Saturday. Give me Arkansas plus 6.5 in a game that I think Ole Miss probably wins it, but maybe by a field goal, not by a touchdown.
Okay. Doing our picks of the week here on the big show, KTGR. Go ahead, Ben.
All righty. I don't know if I want to go NFL or college right now. I think I'll stay in the college realm, and I think I'll go with LSU finally picking a favorite in this one, especially at home. But LSU -7 against Florida. Look, Florida, I do think South Florida's a good football team, but Florida's just very up and down, and I think this could be one of those ruts that they stay down in, having to go to Death Valley against a really solid LSU squad. I think LSU could win this one by around 2 scores. The 7's a little scary, but I'll take them at home in Death Valley against the Gators.
Very interesting. Okay. Circle that one too. We'll see if we come back to it. I like NFL home dogs this week, apparently. I'm taking the Raiders at home. I actually think they win this game outright against the Chargers. I really
that would
think
be interesting for the AFC West.
Yeah, it could be a little bit wild when it comes to that. Chiefs, I think, will eventually settle down, and I do think that even though all three of the other teams are more improved, that probably means that they drag themselves down with head-to-head wins that get mixed up, and you see a bunch of 3-3 division records and things like that. So I think this could start to stir that a little bit more. Raiders get the home win. I think they'll run the football well against this Chargers D and control the ball a little bit better. And look, we'll see if Geno Smith has won big games like this before. So I'll say that the Raiders get it done at home, plus 3.5.
Okay, this next team I feel very good about. I maintain that I'm throwing the challenge flag on this number, but you've got it at 27.5 for Mizzou. I don't think it should make any difference. Mizzou rolls. I don't think they give up a point this week. I think that this is the game that we want to see from the defense, and the offense will do enough to cover minus 27.5. So, yeah, give me the Tigers in a game that I think they win going away. You can play it at noon. You can play it at 3. You can play it at midnight. MIZ, baby.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I was going to take it later if you hadn't. So,
I thought you would, and so that's why I chose to go a little earlier and maybe put the block on you.
All right, producers, round 4.
Alrighty. Oh gosh, there's some that just a little scared about. I'll go in the college realm, and I'll take Alabama minus 20.5. It's a huge line. But I don't think Wisconsin does not impress me. I would not be surprised if Fickle is gone at the end of this year. And look, I know Alabama, they not off to the right start that they wanted to, lost on the road against Florida State. A lot of people are wary about them right now. I think this might be one of their more comforting games for fans and look like, hey, we're still Alabama. We still have the talent. We're still all right. And I think that they win this one running away.
Brendan, every pick the producers have made, I want to fade. Well,
and yet you haven't done it yet.
I haven't yet, but I'm waiting.
Let's get some action.
I was waiting for my for the full allotment, the full menu, if you will, of what they were going to bring out there. Man, that's another one where I was looking at Wisconsin. I don't know if I'll pick that one. I will pick the Jets, though. That's the one that I will take. Yeah.
I think that might be right. As much as I would love to see the Bills roll, that might be the right
Jets
side.
showed me something, and they're at home. I know the Bills have been strong, but look, they didn't really start the best in the second half against the Ravens. I know they closed well, but if this becomes another one of those close games that maybe they have to come back from, a 6-point cushion is not a bad thing to have on your side.
Yeah, I think the Jets plus 6. I wouldn't want to bet that game either way because I hate when I know there's a superior team betting against them. But Jets might be the right side there. So I applaud you for doing what feels kind of yucky, but might actually be a pretty savvy pick. I still have a bunch of games that I like. I'm going to take the Lions minus 6.5. My logic is that the Packers are the best team in the NFL, and it's not the Lions' fault. Right? The Lions didn't look good against Green Bay in week 1, but we think the Commanders are a pretty decent team. They didn't look good on Thursday Night Football against Green Bay. The Bears, I think there could be that little Ben Johnson edge that comes into this game, but I just don't know if that matters when Caleb Williams is as inconsistent as we have seen him. I know there's been some consternation about whether some of the issues were, DJ Moore ran the wrong route. It was this, it was that. I wasn't impressed with Caleb Williams. That was a game the Bears should have won last Monday night, and they didn't do it. So I'm going to say that kind of using that transitive property, people are down on the Lions because of the loss to Green Bay. Green Bay is elite, as we've seen through 2 weeks. And so I'm going to say Lions get their lick back and win this one minus 6.5.
All right, final round.
All right, I'll go with the Chiefs at home.
Andy probably wanted that.
Yeah, I thought he probably would.
I actually was a little I was duped by the producers on that. I thought no one would take it, so I decided to save it for last.
You knew I wasn't taking it.
Yeah, I knew it. Yeah, I wasn't worried about that. But hey, the producers, good on you. I flunked out on that, basically.
Yeah, I like them at home. It just seems like the Chiefs have won so many of these games before. Big games. They have some of their key pieces out, some question marks around them, like No, they start off 0-1. Could they possibly start off 0-2? This is not the Chiefs that we've seen for the past couple of years. And then I think they just go out and get it done. And people are like, oh, and they all settle back down. Kind of with Alabama, my logic the same. Like, oh, people are a little worried about them, but then this game, they'll win it. They'll settle down. So I like the Chiefs this one at home.
Well, the good news is it gives me another chance to pay the producers on some of the other picks that I like there. I'll take Florida. I actually think
I like it.
That they've heard all the noise this week, and they want to silence some doubters. And then on the other side, I didn't really necessarily like that Brian Kelly took a swipe at Dabo Swinney a week and a half after he already played that team. If you are looking in any direction, if you are looking back, if you are looking forward, instead of what is the task at hand in front of you, you can get tripped up. And I will say that Florida takes advantage of that. I don't know if they win the game, but I think it'll be a dogfight towards the end. Florida plus the 7 in Death Valley.
I got 3 words for you now. You ready?
3.
Fly, Eagles, fly. I just don't believe. I want to be wrong. I'd love for the Chiefs to be okay. I don't think the Chiefs are going to be okay. It doesn't look like Xavier Worthy's playing in this game. I don't know that the offense has enough pieces to hold up. The running game didn't impress in the first week. They really abandoned it in a way that suggests they don't really feel confident in it. And there's just a lot of weapons to defend, as the Chiefs found out in that Super Bowl matchup. I am surprised by this number. I think it should be more like Eagles minus 2.5. I'm only having to lay a point here. Eagles are probably my most confident pick of the week in the NFL. Hate to say it, Chiefs fans, but I think we're talking on Monday about a really tricky, sticky situation for Chiefs Kingdom.
Maybe, but that's why they play the games. We'll find out for sure after Sunday. We'll discuss it on Monday, of course, and we'll discuss all things Mizzou after their game against Louisiana coming up tomorrow. Again, a reminder, noon kickoff tomorrow. That means our Yuengling Tiger Game Day show begins at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. So be ready for that. And thank you for joining us today. Thanks also to Rob Vino for joining us last hour. High school football comes your way in just a little bit. Hickman and Capital City, our featured game tonight. Don't miss coverage of it starting next hour. He's Brendan. He's producer Ben. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
Discover, explore, and soak in the views of the incredible landscapes that make up the last frontier, Alaska. Experience the diverse culture and rich history as we cruise the Pacific coast and explore the wilds of Denali, Glacier Bay, and beyond. And boy, do we have some good news. There are currently still seats available, but don't wait, as you only have until October 3rd to book this once-in-a-lifetime trip. To RSVP and learn more, go to ZimmerCommunications.com today.
Welcome to Macadoodles. Macadoodles does game day like nobody else. Whether you're tailgating or hosting a watch party, Macadoodles has you covered. With more than 3,200 wine labels, 1,500 spirits, and 600